whatever he can do to get you off track, that's what his job is. When we're looking in the book of Job, the Lord asked Job, what you doing? He said, hey, I'm going to and fro, up and down. Who's saying whom I may devour? In other words, the devil on his job. And he don't care who he uses. But you got to be in a place where you say, God, you've been my shelter. You listen, you've been taking care of me all this time. Why would you fail me now? What? Sometimes we got to learn out of a whole shot to get outside of ourselves. Because sometimes we're looking at the situation from our perspective when we should be saying, God, this one on you. If you did it before, I'm confident that you can do it again. Some of us act like we don't realize when God brought us through the first time. Some of us may need to just take a second and think back. Can't you think of a time when all hell was breaking loose that you had to call on God and it was him that brought you through? I'm not talking about something that you did so good, but I'm talking about he brought you through. I'm not talking about because you called pastor and said, Pastor, pray. I'm talking about he brought you through. Somebody will just give God away. Thank you, Lord, for bringing me through. Thank you, Lord, for keeping me. Why? Because if it had not, I feel good right now. Been for the Lord on our side. David began to say, God has been a shelter for me. In other words, you covered me. There were some things that were designed to take you out, but God covered you. There were some things that were designed that you shouldn't have made it, but God covered you. He was my shelter. It was raining outside. I was teaching my students one day, and we were talking about grouping, we were talking about fractions, and you know, anything your denominator determines how many, the total of it, but your numerator says how many is inside of your denominator. Okay, I'm not trying to teach you that, but I'm trying to help you. So if we're trying to get unit fractions, let's say for example, we got 14 over 7. Unit fractions are when you break down and say 1/7 14 times. Okay, I may lose you. If I lose you, I'll bring you back. And then you have to group them. So in other words, when we get to higher education, get to middle school, we just divide 7 and 14, we realize it's 2. But they had to teach you the foundation of it, which means 1/7, 1/7, 1/7, 1/7. And then you circle how many? 7. You had to group them by 7. But every now and then you would get an odd number and there'll be one left outside. So it'll be what? A mixed number. You'll have 1 and 3 over 4, or 7 and 3. You know, but I use the analogy. Sometimes you got to learn how to leave folk outside. Sometimes you want to put them in a box. You want them to be included in a group. I hope I didn't lose you. But if I did, sometimes you can't take everybody where you go. And the biggest problem is God is your shelter. And some of us trying to bring people out the rain that ain't ready to come out the rain yet. You talking about the Lord? Can I be real with you? David said, Lord, you've been my shelter. Some of us need to stop trying to make God be for somebody else what he is for you. Because everybody ain't viewing God the same way. That does not take away from who God is, but some of us are experienced people. We learn by experience. If we don't fall off the bicycle, we'll never learn how to ride. I'm talking about some of us now. Because there are some people that can get on the bicycle and ride and never fall. Yeah. But this is the point I'm trying to get. Sometimes you have to leave folk where they at. Because when they're ready to come in, somebody looks at them and say, they will. They begin to say, he begin to say, oh, Lord, you've been my shelter. Because some of us should have been in jail. Some of us should have been messed up in that car wreck that God saved us from. Some of us was in a car wreck and the devil intended to take you out. Somebody, I hear Kobe saying, but the Lord, but the Lord, but the Lord. That car wreck you was in, I don't know who I'm talking to. I remember I was going down the highway headed to a hot car. And I'm in the car, police talking, going down the river highway. Big old deer jump out. You know what? It was designed to take me out. But the Lord, but the Lord, but the Lord. Okay, that ain't good enough. Let me come a little bit personal. When you was in that man's house, she had up in that woman's house, she had up in the bed in, and you know they were married and had a girlfriend. But by the grace of God that you didn't get caught, y'all ain't gonna talk to me. But the Lord, but He was my shelter. Can we just thank God? Because some things God has kept us from. I don't know about you, but I thank God for being my shelter. I thank God for covering me. I thank thank God for keeping me. Because there are some situations we couldn't keep ourselves in. Well, Pastor, how you going to say we couldn't have kept ourselves in it? Because some of us were blinded by love. Some of us have been blinded by lust. Some of us have been blinded by things that if God wouldn't have covered us, we would have been lost. Some of us will still be in those situations if God would have brought us through. Some of us will still be with that man if God would have showed us. Thank God for covering me, because when God covered me, he saw things that I did not see. Well, Pastor, he saw things that I did not see. You talking about a shelter. Okay, let me help you. When the storm comes through, what keeps the rain from coming in on you? That shelter. We was in the house the other night, Friday night, I believe it was. And a thunderstorm came through, and I was having church. I was enjoying Full Gospel Holy Temple.